Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this very special Guardz webinar. We will take 2 more minutes in order to let people sign in and get comfortable in their seats with their popcorn and Cokes and be ready to hear some great war stories about hacking humans. We'll give it 1 more minute, and then we will start. Thank you again for joining.
Hacking humans. Universally tell humans are easier to hack than technology.
And we're going to speak all about that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I hear you. That's cool.
Okay, we'll just chat while we're waiting on folks to log in, but a significant portion actually of my education was spent on social engineering. Which kind of surprised
your education, your
yeah,
formal education.
Yeah, my formal and my college education. I spent 3 terms on social engineering.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
What
really
classes does social engineering is being taught at?
For me, I attended a technical school. I attended ECPI in North Carolina, a tech school, and they did a beautiful job of educating us about this. I mean, it was absolutely wild.
What did you master at?
Network security and management.
Network security.
Yeah.
Right.
Figured nothing works without a network, so it'd be a good thing to get a degree in.
Interesting. Okay. I think we can go ahead and start. So, hello, everyone. Again, thank you for joining us today for this, as I said, very special Guardz webinar. My name is Tal Eisner, and I'm the Vice President of Product Marketing here at Guardz. And we're thrilled to bring together to the MSP community and small business communities once again to tackle some of the most, I would say, pressing cybersecurity challenges out there. For those of you who are new, welcome. At Guardz, we're kind of on a mission to simplify cybersecurity and make it accessible for businesses, mainly small and medium businesses, which don't necessarily have the manpower or the resources to have it. And through these webinars that we're doing, we aim to provide actionable insights, real world examples, and tools to help you stay ahead of what it looks like the ever-evolving threat landscape in the cybersecurity world. Today, on this special episode, I'm joined by a guest whose expertise and stories I think will leave some of you both informed, but also inspired, maybe shocked sometime.
Maybe terrified.
Yeah, maybe terrified.
Maybe terrified.
So, first of all, welcome to our webinar, Patrick Wright,
Thank you very much.
co-founder and CTO of STP Ventures. Patrick is, I'll have him tell a little bit about himself, but he's a seasoned cybersecurity professional with an increased, I think, 19 years of experience, and as a CISO and leader of team of ethical hackers. Patrick is passionate about making cybersecurity accessible and practical, and is here. I invited him here really to share some fascinating and, as I said, and he said, maybe terrifying a little bit, maybe a little scary, real-world examples of pen testing and social engineering tactics. The webinar is all about hacking the human element. Today, what we call the hacking humans or hacking a person, as we like to call it, and we'll explore how cyber criminals really exploit emotions like love, urgency, fear, and curiosity to manipulate people and gain access to sensitive information. These are not hypothetical scenarios, and we're not talking theory here. They are the real deal. And Patrick has 4 war stories that will give you guys the front row seat into the mind of a hacker. We will also dive a little bit on how Guardz empowers MSPs and small businesses with cutting-edge tools like AI powered phishing simulations and cyber awareness training to build a proactive security culture, which is, I would say, a dire need today in businesses in all sizes, but definitely in small sizes. Um, and before we jump in, just a quick reminder, this is a webinar that is a part of a series of webinars that we run for the MSP and small business communities. So if you find it value, and we know you will, be sure to check out our other sessions. And without further ado, Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Really so excited to have you here. You can maybe share a little bit about what you're doing and about your life.
Yeah, I'm crazy excited to be here. So 19 years, you nailed it. 19 years in cybersecurity and IT. 16 of those years have actually been as the co-founder of an ethical hacking firm, STP Ventures. So we have been around for over a decade and a half in this space, quite literally since before we started calling cybersecurity. You know, back in the old glory days of InfoSec and DataSec, right?
Yeah, InfoSec. I
Yeah,
remember these
yeah,
days.
InfoSec. Yep, the good old days.
Yeah.
So cybersecurity is the modern terminology, and it's a fascinating space to work in. It really, really is. You know, you have the IT industry as an umbrella, then you have cybersecurity as a niche operating within IT, and then you have ethical hackers that operate as a niche within that niche, and that's the space where we live. And you know, it's called offensive security. The entire
Yeah.
industry is
Yeah.
based on the best way to find out how you're going to get hacked is to hire hackers.
Yeah.
It's not overly difficult, right? It doesn't have to be as complicated as some of our competitive colleagues on the market, Tal, would have people believe it to be.
Okay. And Patrick, before we dive into the war stories, how we call that, maybe, just to provide the audience the basics, can you maybe give our audience a quick overview of what is social engineering
Yeah,
and why it's such a powerful tool and, let's face it, an effective tool?
it is
Uh,
utterly effective. Yeah.
yeah, for
So
cyber criminals.
yeah, sure. So social engineering is like many things in IT, is pretty aptly named. It's hacking a human. That's exactly what it is. You are engineering a social situation. That is social engineering. That is every phishing email that goes out is crafted to hack the recipient's emotions. And if you can hack the human psyche, then you can pretty much get them to click on whatever you want to,
Right.
especially when you play
Right.
at large, right? So these threat actors, Tal, you know, some of them go very, very targeted at a very small target base. Most of them are sending hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of emails and just playing Vegas odds. Somebody's going to click on it if it's a relatively slickly designed phishing email. But phishing is quite literally social engineering. You know, you send the
Absolutely.
email, you're trying to make it relatable to them or invoke one of those emotions that you went over. It could be fear, it could be love, it could be anything. Whatever they have to say to get you to click on something, they're going to say.
Right.
There is no honor amongst thieves in this case. They will manipulate you to the extent that you allow them to.
And how does it work? Your company goes out to organizations, to businesses, to small businesses, medium, whatever, to MSPs,
Yeah.
and what you offer the well, I know what you offer, but the service that you provide is kind of a pen testing that
Yeah.
involves also social hacking, like we're gonna hear now.
Yeah. So
How
really
does it work? Tell us a little
the
bit.
thing that separates bad guy hackers and good guy hackers really is the intent and very slightly the method. But for the most part, the methodologies that we use in the white hat world are very, very similar to the methodologies that are used in the black hat world. Instead of, you know, encrypting your environment, we take screenshots of your environment just to
Right.
prove that we were there. You know, things of that nature. So when we approach, offensive security is really what it's called, and that's a very good name for it. You engage a red team, a pen testing team, to come in and hack your organization by whatever means are necessary. Sometimes, you limit it to just infrastructure, just social, something like that. And we come in, we collect a little bit of information from the client, and then we conduct what's called a penetration test, where we quite literally attempt to penetrate the environment, penetrate the controls and the defenses that are there. And then we give a very plain text, easy to read, and actionable report to the client that says, hey, look, this is every single exploit that was found. And to the audience, there's a very important distinction for us in the ethical hacking world between a vulnerability and between an exploit. So a vulnerability is something wrong that exists. An exploit is something wrong that exists, a vulnerability that can actually lead to a breach of your environment. That's one of the big differences between a vuln scan and a pen test. Anything that winds up on a report that we give is verified that we can use it that second to breach your environment.
I see.
Very, very laser focused. And I honestly, Tal, we do a lot of advisory services and stuff for C-suites, and we advise organizations take an annualized view at your cybersecurity instead of taking a week to week or even a by-month view of your cybersecurity. If you take it day to day, week to week, month to month, your hair is going to look like mine. You're not gonna have any hair left. It's going to drive you absolutely bonkers. If you take an annualized view, maybe you have multiple pen testing engagements. Pricing has come down now to where we can have 3-4 pen tests in a year and not break the budget. You're looking to go from a 200-page report down to a 125, 100-page report.
Right.
And that is real progress. And every single exploit that you close on a pen test report is one less avenue that a threat actor, a black hat, has to breach your environment.
I see. And this components that you wrote here of social engineering, can you go over some of these?
Yeah. So these are from our observations and the many things that we have broken, hacked, and breached. Threat actors are looking to play off your emotions. They want to create a whole bunch of stuff, and then the piece de resistance is encouraging a specific action. So they want to create a sense of urgency. They want to create an emotional reaction, and they want to create believability. If they can combine successfully those three things into one message, whether it's over voice, video, email, whatever it is, and they combine it with a call to action, they encourage an action, then that's a success. That's probably going to be a successful social engineering attack. And it's not that difficult with the prevalence of generative AI now, like the ChatGPT, just the ubiquitous generative AI system. You can use ChatGPT to create some very, very convincing phishing emails.
Right.
Very, very convincing. And if you combine that with even a small amount of design and development knowledge, you can get dangerous very, very quickly. If you email 10 million people about needing to sign into their 365 account.
So this is not really a joke. This is something that hackers are doing in a very sophisticated. Everybody's talking about the increased sophistication of attacks. This is something that you put thought and psychology into. This is not something to take lightly.
It's not, and I'll tell you why. Obviously not all, but a significant portion of threat actors and threat operation groups operate out of developing countries or countries with governments that don't care what they're doing.
Right.
Like we'll pick on Russia. And in the worst case scenarios, you get state-sponsored groups. So like the Lazarus Group out of North Korea, they're just blatantly sponsored by a nation state. And so right this second, I guarantee you there are hundreds, if not thousands, of small tiger teams around the world that are working on social engineering messaging. They're doing it right now. They're looking at their targets. It may be spear phishing. They may be building profiles and dossiers on their targets with open source intelligence tools. And then they can actually go spear phishing, which is where you attack very specific things about specific individuals, right? All of this stuff, I'll be careful and say most. I'll be conservative and say most of these things can be combated in social engineering by having a good security culture. Like you brought up earlier, a good security culture, there's a lot of different variables and aspects that go into having a corporate culture of security. But if you manage to have one, you are making your organization not impossible, but extraordinarily difficult for someone like us to breach. And the goal in cyber, and Tal, you know this as well as I do, you're never hack proof, right?
Yeah.
It's technology. It's not because we're not trying. It's the limitations of the zeros and the ones. But your goal is to be such a hardened target that someone like us, bad guys like us, you come across your organization and they just go right on past. It's not worth the time it would take to breach you.
And hackers, we found that hackers are leveraging like up to date conversations or topics that are relevant and leveraging it to do social engineering. For example, we're actually at the holiday season already. People are doing a lot of shopping online and everybody's in the holiday festive, and hackers are leveraging this. They're sending phishing emails with things that look like the latest sale in the latest mall, in order to attract people to click on links, in order to generate or actually activate or execute malicious content around that. We've seen a lot of that going on around. And again, hackers are really putting a lot of efforts. And our targets, which I think many of our viewers and listeners are either MSPs or small, medium businesses, sometimes are not cyber aware enough to notice these topics and notice that these areas that can be very, very vulnerable and can be the I would say the door into the organization and to creating a lot of damages.
Yeah, and Tal, we share, our companies share a client base, small and mid-tier size. One thing that we've observed as well is especially in the small businesses and sometimes mid-tier, I've never seen a fully staffed or fully budgeted IT department, much less a fully fleshed out cybersecurity department. So very often, you might even have a team of 5 people. You have the director or the manager, you have 2 or 3 end user support specialists, and you have 1 infrastructure person.
Right.
There's no room there for a security person because the money's not there. Even if they want to do better as the internal team, it's a challenge, which is why it's nice when companies like STP and Guardz get together, because we both share that common goal of let's make this easier for that target demographic, because they need it. And cybersecurity is not going to get any easier. It's going to get more difficult.
Right. And now to the gory details. Let's drill down a little bit to some of the war stories that you have, and I know they are great and interesting and fascinating. Let's delve into some of these. And I know that the first one you want to start with, everything in life is love. Love, Leonard Cohen said, love is the only engine of survival. So let's start with everything that is love related.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about, sending flowers and what does that have to do with social engineering?
Sure. So let's say for whatever the motivations are, you have a group or an individual that wants to hack a company, that wants to breach a company. So I have a lot of NDAs and non-disclosure, so we'll speak very hypothetically about this scenario.
Right.
Let's say that this was a 500-person company and they had 1 receptionist. So the threat actor calls the receptionist and through just pure conversational skills, learns first name, last name, a little bit about the social situation. After that call, threat actor goes to social media, maybe uses open source intelligence tools, maybe not. So through social media, let's say Facebook, you find out the name of this person's significant other. Okay. So now we have a very, very important piece of information. Very important. Having the name of their loved one, like who they hold dearest in life, that makes them forget all logic. Score. This is our weapon. So how do we deploy it? So we obviously know where. I'll pick on one of my employees. Her name is Ashley. She's on the call right now. It'll be funny. So let's say Ashley is sitting at work one day and receives this beautiful bouquet of flowers. Wonderful bouquet, just gorgeous. And attached to this bouquet is a little letter, like the florists include, little envelope, and inside the envelope is a thumb drive. And the letter says, "Love you so much. Can't wait to see you tonight. Plug this in for a surprise." Who's not going to plug in the thumb drive, right? Everybody's going to plug in the thumb drive, right?
Oh yeah.
And the second they plug in the thumb
I
drive,
I like the term love drive. That's cool.
You're right. There you go. Love drive. Actually, I might use that. I like that.
Yeah.
And so by sending the flowers, even though the flowers are from an attacker, a threat actor, Ashley's husband has no idea these flowers are being stolen whatsoever. But who doesn't like to receive flowers? Who doesn't like cute messages from their significant other? Who doesn't like surprises? All of these things are variables that a threat actor has used to socially engineer the front desk person. And it's that easy. It quite literally is that easy. If I'll go out on a limb here and say, if you pulled that attack on a group of 10 clients, just as a test, I guarantee you at least 70% of them are going to fall for it, at least. And then a lot of
I can definitely see how this will work, and how this is so very attractive. Again, especially as I said, to a lot of organizations and businesses that they don't have in their back of their mind, in their DNA, the cyber awareness that you and I, for example, have. And it's in our DNA. We know to look for suspicious links, to look for people trying to do something like that. But for small and medium businesses, sometimes that could be very, very challenging. So I can definitely understand how this works. If we're going to the next example, everybody loves gifts, right? Everybody loves gifts. So what can you tell us about gift cards?
Oh boy. So Tal, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this one or not. This has been pretty popular, a popular social engineering attack for the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 years, when it really, really became a problem. Someone's boss, the president, CEO, says somebody important in an organization will have their email spoofed, maybe even breached in a BEC attack, a business email compromise attack. And they will send an email to somebody that says, "Hey, I'm meeting with a client. I need $500 or $5,000 in gift cards. Go run out, grab them, and send me the numbers." Okay, seems maybe a little bit odd, but it's not crazy enough, depending on the company, to really raise a lot of alarm bells. It's a fairly benign request, right? It's also so off the wall that a lot of people don't even stop to think it's so crazy it's not crazy, if that makes sense. And this all goes to hacking the human. What attacker in their right mind would be like, "Hey, go buy $2,000 in gift cards"? Well, the reality is a whole lot of them, because it works. And $2,000 in gift cards to an American company, mid-size, I mean, that's nothing. That's it. Sure, it's in the kitty fund. But $2,000 to a person launching this attack overseas in a developing nation, that's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. Then they just have to duplicate this at scale. And so, they con 500 companies into giving them $2,000. And now this is how groups of hackers, this is how threat groups are formed. But yeah, it's we have had our clients that have fallen victim to it. It happens. we read stories about it. The emails are still being sent. Thankfully, they're kind of they're becoming ubiquitous with the Nigerian prince who tried to give away, $80 million in those emails that were sent out. But yeah, this is worked. It works. And all it takes is for the right person, the right office manager, to be busy, to be distracted, to not have that culture, to not have that security culture, to say, yeah, okay, sure, I'll go right out and grab it on lunch and I'll send the numbers. And then as soon as the numbers are sent, they're cashed, the gift cards are cashed in for whatever. And then there you go. The money's out. The money is spent. The business is out that money.
And I think we can certainly say, as always, in these kind of things, that fear is always, I would say, a powerful motivator.
Right.
The "we have your info" scenario is terrifying for many, many people, especially if they don't have the culture or the awareness enough. But can you tell us a little bit, how do attackers craft these kind of messages to make them believable? And what steps should people take if they receive one?
Yeah. So this is going to be crazy. So the steps to take if you receive one is to just delete the email. That's it. Don't engage with it. It's that easy. So there's a very popular one. I receive this one myself four or five times a month from various just throwaway Smurf email addresses. So it plays on one of the world's biggest vices, and that is pornography, the more mature content.
Yeah,
and so an email gets sent that say, it has a very, very scary. I didn't include this in the slide because some of this email gets a little graphic, but it says, "Hey, we have your password. We have compromised your accounts. We know the material that you've been looking at. It's very embarrassing. You don't want us to release it." And it's playing off of an unfortunate vice that a lot of people in the business world suffer from, and they look at very personal things on work equipment. Right. And that instantly, I have heard this firsthand experience from our own clients, both in business and personal cybersecurity. They say that, my heart jumps up into my throat and I can't breathe. I don't know what to do because I have been looking at stuff. And now this dude is telling me that he knows what I've been looking at and he's going to email it to everybody. When in the reality of the situation is that guy, that threat actor, sent that email to a million other people. He has no idea what you've been doing and what you haven't been doing. And they never ask for a lot of money. This one that seems to be very popular being sent out literally asked for $250.
Yeah.
And, so you take your average person sitting there who has secrets or at least private habits that they don't want to be known by the rest of the world. Yeah, $250 in crypto. They're like, yeah, okay, I'll pay to shut this guy up. And then they send the money. When in reality, this guy doesn't know you. He has no idea what he has as a database with email addresses in it. And right now they're using AI to send out all of these emails off of a rented server, probably out of Sweden. And there's nothing to be done except have really, really great email filtering deployed for the organization. Security culture, email filters, test your employees, and mock attacks and things like that. Those are all wonderful, wonderful things to do.
I see. And they always say that curiosity killed the cat, or at least it compromised their system.
It did.
USB seeding and public QR codes are everywhere.
They are.
Yeah,
they really are.
So how can we really educate employees to pause and think before interacting with unknown devices or with links that they see, as we said, everywhere? What's the tips? What tips can we give to people?
So we haven't.
And what have you seen in terms of these kind of examples?
Sure. So we haven't quite cracked the magic code for getting employees to always think about this. But one thing, the best advice that I can give to our listeners and to the people that will listen to this later, who are IT directors, IT people that are responsible for this, you have to have many different touch points spread throughout the week with your employees to continue to have front of mind presence for cybersecurity, whatever that looks like. Your IT department should have some sort of personal face-to-face interaction with employees fairly regularly. You want your users to be comfortable seeing you and to say, hey, Patrick, hey, Tal, while you're walking by, I got this really weird email. Do you mind taking a look? Now, should they submit a ticket and forward it and do all this stuff? Yes, they should. But the end goal here is to build a culture, right? So we don't want to reject those requests out of hand and be like, shut up, send me a ticket. We don't want to be like that. We want our users to be comfortable with us as the IT practitioners. There's also a really, really big push for what's called gamification in employee training, where you get little 1 to 3 minute modules where they're seeing the material, they're listening to it, and it's actually interactive, like a little game. And then, of course, that your score for your cybersecurity training, it goes on a leaderboard, and now you're competing against other employees. It makes it fun. But the thing that I have to say most to the folks that are listening, and this is the same thing we advise in our advisory services, you have to be accessible as a security person and as an IT practitioner,
Right.
and you have to be relatable. We have to remember, guys, we have to remember their job is not our job. And Tal, like, it's one thing for you and I to be turned on 100% of the time, like you were saying. This is what we do. This is not what the accounting department does. they're buried in numbers and Excel sheets and everything that I consider to be a personal nightmare. Manufacturing guys, they're worried about welding and cutting fiberglass. This is not what they do. We have to remember that. And every company is going to have a different culture. So unfortunately, there is no magic roadmap. Every group of employees is going to be different.
Right. And speaking about that and everything around that, can you see what I'm sharing at the screen? No, not yet.
I'm still seeing gone fishing.
Yeah. So I wanna share a little bit about what we do in Guardz in terms of awareness and in phishing simulations. Here we go. So I wanted to share a little bit about what we do here. Just a second, my screen got, okay. So in our platform, Guardz has a unified detection and response platform that we empower MSPs to work with their clients, usually small and medium-sized clients, businesses, sorry, in this platform that has the ability to connect the dots between different detections across emails and cloud and dark web credentials that are being leaked to the dark web and external posture and everything around that, and has the ability to connect the dots between all these to what we call a user-centric approach. Now, a user-centric approach means also not just if there was some kind of a detection of a breach somewhere or something like this, but also if the certain employer or a certain user did not complete his awareness training, did not did his update of software on his endpoint and everything around that. And one of the tools that we also have is a phishing simulation that is also powered by AI and has the ability to generate content and then assign users to it with phishing content. So we're going to do a small example here of what we do. Let's say a company name is STP Ventures. I just randomly chose this name.
Totally random.
Yeah, totally random.
Really
And
random.
the participant name is Patrick. Let's say Patrick Wright or something like that. And this, sorry, the sender will be, let's say, Patrick Wright. Let's take it to the extra mile.
You know what's funny, Tal, is I actually have gotten threatening email messages from myself before.
For yourself. Okay,
Yeah, true.
exactly.
Yeah.
And this is from human resources, let's call it the saying. And the industry here is, let's say, I don't know. And again, this is of course for the sake of example. So we will do something random, like let's say banking. Okay. And the tone that we want to have this should be friendly,
Nope.
with the content length which is short and in English. We let our AI engines work on it, and very, very shortly you see an email, important message from STP Ventures to Patrick Wright, which is this from Patrick Wright to someone that we can put, of course, a name. As part of our effort to improve our HR system, we have partnered with company name, a leading provider of HR solutions. Click here, always a bad
Yeah.
idea,
Yeah.
to confirm your account. I think I saw a webinar or a campaign many years ago that says, just don't click on that link.
Just don't click links, man.
Just don't click it.
But
So
you know what's crazy, Tal, is that is the extent of security against that attack.
exactly,
Don't click the link.
exactly. Of course, you can schedule the campaign and put it to certain users and then review it and launch it. And these guys will receive it and have the information there. This is something which is very, very important. Another thing is our awareness templates or awareness training, which we have from different, we do a lot of information, videos that we've generated, for example, about how to avoid phishing scams. So, we have something that the users can view.
Like Clueless Carl.
And this is about Clueless Carl. I don't know if you
Clueless
know,
Carl.
he's a great guy.
Sneaky
I think I
attempt
worked
to
with
steal your
Clueless Carl
personal
one time.
information.
I think he was one of your
Don't
employees.
take the
So,
bait, Carl.
how
First
to avoid
clue of
phishing
phishing.
scam with
Suspicious
suspicious
emails.
emails and everything
Carl,
around that.
check for audio.
All this awareness training is available on that specific platform that our users are using. We're coming to the end of our very cool session today. I want to take this also to a practical area. As I said, a lot of our audiences comes from the MSP community and the small and medium business companies. So maybe there are a few lessons that you can share, or small tips that you can share that they can apply to their cybersecurity strategies today, and take it as a takeaway from this session.
Sure. So we'll try and stay on topic with social engineering. So 92% of ransomware in 2023 was delivered through email. So first and foremost, your first takeaway is you need an email filter, like an honest to goodness, actual, like a business email, secure email gateway or something.
Sure.
That's what you need. If you have endpoint agents that can interact with email, that works as well. If you can have a secure email gateway and an endpoint agent, some sort of MDR solution, Guard, they can also interact and provide secondary filtering, then please do that. That, and don't skip out on the training. You can't afford to skip out on the training. And by training, I don't mean an annual conference where you gather all 300 employees together and you just be boring at them for 3 hours. Nobody's going to retain that. They're really not. I'm talking about a weekly email, like a weekly newsletter, a state of the company address, something. Being a physical, seen, known presence. If you have a distributed workforce, use video calls to randomly check in with users every couple of days.
Sure.
There's a number of things that we as IT pros, this is the trick, Tal. We have to make the time to do it. Most of the people understand, most of the IT practitioners that have been around the block before, we understand that we should be doing these things, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and the squeaky wheel is usually end users that are complaining about production issues. So if we have end users go down, the company is not productive, we get yelled at, nobody's happy. Unfortunately, cybersecurity is one of those business risks that has the ability to cripple the entire organization in a matter of hours if it's not paid attention to. So we have to create the time to do this. And if you get pushback from your higher ups, then you need to at least make them aware of what the potential consequences are. So,
and I want to add this, as I said, many of our audiences, it comes from the MSP communities. MSPs today have a dire responsibility to the safety of their clients, and specifically in our case, when we're discussing small and medium businesses that don't have this culture, as you said, of cyber awareness enough, and they need someone to guide them. I think that the part of the job and responsibility of MSPs becomes even critical in these kind of cases, to foster, I would say, this kind of culture to the organizations, make them aware. This is not, as you said, this is not a one-time gig that will say, okay, we will send you a presentation, go over it, and then you're covered.
That's right.
It doesn't work like that. This is a culture that you need to foster within these organizations, and MSPs have the critical role in doing so.
They are the relationship holders. I don't know if you've noticed, but cold calling cybersecurity services is hard. More than half of our business comes from our MSP resellers. So if I were to speak directly to MSPs, a few things. One is, don't pretend to be something you're not, because you can actually end up compromising yourself and your client. So develop relationships, bring talent in-house, send your in-house people to go get certified, have a proper relationship with credentialed cybersecurity people. So offer the solutions, make the money on the solutions, but bring in the experts for things like pen testing, social engineering engagements, security assessments, audits, and things like that. Also, don't downplay the potential for increasing your revenue off of offering proper cybersecurity services. So 2 years ago, in 2022, the average cost of a standard network pen test in the US was $30,000. These days, it's starting to come down because of companies like us, and we can do them on a hybrid methodology for $3,000 to $7,000 now. But that is a huge revenue vertical for MSPs that everybody wins. The MSP, they pull in an ethical hacking firm, they pull in a proper MSSP like Guardz. Now they have real utilities, battle-tested utilities and solutions to deliver to their clients. That's going to raise them up in the perception of their clients, and it's going to increase revenue for them. And they have properly qualified people delivering all of their security solutions. So it's really win-win-win.
Getting to the end of the year, I think that we can, convey this as some of the emerging trends in social engineering that businesses and MSPs should be aware of. And I think that they need to be more and more aware of towards the holiday season, as we described before, and the beginning of the year. Every occasion, every special occasion is always a good or a bad, depending in which direction do you look at it. But is always a bad or a good opportunity for hackers to leverage and to work in order to convey attack. Patrick, I want to thank you so much for sharing your insights and these incredible, valuable stories. You've given us a lot to think about, and I think some invaluable lessons to take back, that MSPs can take back, that small businesses can take back. So I want to really thank you for joining me today.
Well, of course, it was a genuine pleasure and an honor, Tal. Love hanging out with you and just kind of talking shop. Can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely. The feeling is mutual. To our audience, thank you for spending the time with us today. Remember, the human element is often the weakest link in cybersecurity, but it's also the area where we can make the biggest impact, whether it's through awareness training, tools like phishing simulations that we've discussed here, or simply fostering a culture of vigilance, you have really the power, I would say, to turn your employees into a much more stronger defense on your business. So if you'd like to learn more about STP Ventures or about Guardz and how we can support your cybersecurity needs, please feel free to visit our websites and reach out through LinkedIn or the website itself, our team directly. And don't forget to keep out for our next webinars, which is being published on regular basis on our LinkedIn page. We've got some exciting topics coming up, I know, in the coming future. So stay tuned for that. Patrick, thank you again.
Thank you very much, sir.
Have a great end of the year. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you.
And I have a feeling that we will, see each other in the future.
I can't wait. It's going to be fun. And thank you to the audience.
Thank you very much.
Everybody take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.